Greeting and welcome to PJ's Kitchen. Yes, you're seeing a different background because we're trying a few new things. And this is the first of a new series which we are hoping to make of very short videos but exceedingly pertinent. Today we are asking the question, are the feasts of the Old Testament and the animal sacrifices going to be carried out when Christ returns? Are these going to be forever? Now, most people do not even know about these feast days, and certainly most think that the animal sacrifices are no longer and will be no longer required because Christ died for us. Well, Christ did die for us, and if it was just one person on the earth, me or you, Christ would still have to die because we all have sinned. Romans 6:10, for in that he, Christ, died, he died unto sin once, but in that he liveth unto God. So Christ died for our sins, but only once. That makes an abomination of the Mass, where they have a bloodless sacrifice countless times a day. It is wrong, it is legal, it is evil, and it is an abomination. Now, I'm going to show you that the sacrifices are forever. I know Christ died, but you're going to see why. Leviticus 6:18, all the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it, and it shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings of the Lord made by fire. Everyone that toucheth them shall be holy. So we are told there that offerings of fire, and I have to tell you, you look at all of them, I'm only just taking the odd one out, are forever. And it says through your generations, in your generations. Now, the Sabbath, we always keep bringing up the Sabbath. Well, the Sabbath is not just any old day, it also qualifies as a feast. That's what it says. And in Exodus 31:17, it says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, and this should be taught to all the world. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth. So we go and we are told when it was originated, when it was created. And on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. So he rested to show us that we should rest, because the eternal God does neither slumber nor sleeps. Okay. So we then recently, it's really just a matter of very few days before Tabernacles, we had trumpets, and prior to that it was atonement. It says about atonement in Leviticus 16:29, this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall afflict your souls, and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country, or a stranger that sojourneth among you. It shall be a Sabbath, this is Leviticus 16:31, it shall be a Sabbath of rest unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, that is fast, by a statute forever. So there we see atonement is forever. We have seen the Sabbath is forever. We have seen sacrifices are forever. And you can see that about all the additional 6 feasts that are carried out in the year. Now dealing with today, or this period of time, the Feast of Tabernacles. Leviticus 23:41, and ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days. So this feast lasts 7 days. 7 days of rejoicing. Have a little bit of extra special food, have friends around, you can have gifts, and just have genuine fellowship and friendship. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. I should mention, for those people who say we should not forsake the assembling of ourselves, when you have nobody who thinks like you, you can't just meet with anybody. So if you can find people who are thinking like you, then of course meet together and enjoy. But if you don't, as I keep saying, you don't see foxes keeping company with chickens. Well, Tabernacles is a statute forever, and it should be celebrated in the 7th month. Now, Zechariah 14:19 explains that even when Christ returns, the sacrifices are going to be continued or reinstated, and so the feast. So these verses do both at the same time. Zechariah 14:19, this shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations. Note, not just one, all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So all nations are required to keep it. In that day, this is verse 20 of Zechariah 14, in that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord. So the bells are going to be engraved like that. And now, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. You go and read the Old Testament and you will see there were many gold and brazen pots and pans that were used for the sacrifices. Verse 21, Zechariah 14, yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord. So the holiness is going to extend beyond any temple. And all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them and seethe therein. Seethe means boil. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. Isn't that something? I have never heard any Christian minister say that. Never. Have you? Well, why have the sacrifices when Christ already died for our sins? Isn't this legalistic, keeping some laws? No, it is not. We are going to be living at a time of peace and a time of plenty. And what we have got to understand is the incredible price that Christ paid for each and every one of us. And that is why the sacrifices are going to be reinstituted, so that we can see what it is like to suffer and die. Not that the animals go through any extra suffering, but most of us have no idea about the reality of life. We think that milk comes out of a bottle and meat comes out of a plastic pack at the supermarket. Few of us have seen a sheep slaughtered, a cow slaughtered. But this will let us realize the reality of this. And Passover is excellent for this, because you have the sheep in your environment, in your home, for a few days, about 8 to 10 days before it is slaughtered. You would have been attracted to the animal, and then you see it die. So that is why sacrifices will be reinstituted. They should never have been stopped in the first place. And they have some things that we don't know about. In Isaiah 66:22, for as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed, your children, and your name remain. Verse 23, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, that shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. So you don't like the Old Testament? You won't find this in the New Testament. But it says there clearly that sacrifices and the feast will be kept. So I hope you will go to the website, peterjamesx.com, and check out our many documents on the subject and start trying to keep the Sabbaths and the festivals. You don't have to worry about sacrifices. There's no temple now. But in the future, we will all be doing this. So this is PJ from PJ's Kitchen saying cheerio for now until the next time.